Let's get into it. It's crime o'clock, yeah, feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick-tock, won't stop, let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah, it's crime o'clock. Clock, clock, yeah. Typically new, neon signs glow, brick wall behind me. Headlines loud, but they never define me. They rush the story, skip the proof. I slow it down, let it show the truth. Files on deck, read every line. Timestamps matter, so does time. If it don't fit, I don't force the frame. Ask one question, whole story change. No fear my voice, no need to shout. Paper speaks when you read it out. If the math's off, I'll circle twice. Truth ain't loud, but it ain't nice. Yeah. Read it again. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah. It's crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Read it again. They sell a narrative if I sell receipts. Courtroom quiet, but the pages speak. Word for word, no added spin. Let it stand, yeah, let that sink in. Screenshot save, timeline's tight. Missing pieces keep me up at night. If they say you're late, I say why. If they say case closed, I say try. No rush here, we do it right. Truth don't bend for the likes of hype. If you came for noise, you in the wrong spot. This is evidence, this is crime o'clock. Clock, clock, clock. Stay with me. This isn't background noise. This is pattern recognition. This is documents. This is crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Say it with me now. Crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Typically unique. It's crime o'clock. Yeah. If you're here, you're early. If you're listening, you're paying attention. Show starts now.
Welcome back to Crime O'Clock on Typically Unique. Typically Unique is the channel. Crime O'Clock is the live show. Hello, everybody. How you doing today? Good to see everybody. Hey, Jenna. ABCs of True Crime. Yeah, we could do that. Dale Harrison. Hello. Christina. Always showing up. Hello, hello. Superman's grandma. Becca. Hey, Jen. Jen, Christina, any of the mods, anybody who's in Discord. I put a message in there a little bit ago. If anybody's up for a helping out with a little task, I'd appreciate it. And I gotta dim a light. Hold on. All right. My forehead was way too shiny. Hey, Ruthie Robles. Hello, hello, Donna. Hey, you guys. Good to see you. All right, we're talking about Dylan today. And she's getting at least a two-parter. Because there's so much to say. And yesterday, people brought up WSU Mom Kim and her being on Birdie's channel the other night. And I listened to most of it that night. And then I finished it this morning. And oh my goodness, she had my brain going down rabbit holes. She had a lot of information in there. Things that we could try to verify. The other thing that I watched this morning was Bubbly Waters. She has an awesome video out, you guys, about a camera. Evidence photo evidence of a camera right directly across the street from the parking lot of 1122. It would have captured everything that night. Everything. Everything going in and out of the front of that house. I guess the police are trying to say that that doesn't exist, but from what I heard on Bubbly's video, there's a photo of the camera. There's a photo of the SD card getting handed over. There's a photo. Thank you, Christina. There's a photo of with the SD card getting handed over, and something else. So, Christopher Whitcomb, are you listening? Ann Taylor, you got that video? She did mention a video in court. That clip is in that video also. And I know Bubbly got a lot of that footage from Swamp Rose. If you guys remember Kiki, her channel is Swamp Rose, she was going down that path. She had all that. So that's interesting. Insert possum emojis. That's funny. All right. What else? Oh, I want to start with thanks to Jen and Skull. Yesterday I was talking about, we were going over Maddie's timeline, I believe. And what came up? Something came up. Oh, the driver. Talking about Lyft drivers, because on Maddie's timeline, it is stated that she took a Lyft at 12:21 p.m. Saturday afternoon, and Eric Gower told us he was the only Uber and Lyft driver in the area in his interviews. But I got sent these articles, and I don't think that's true. It also made me think of, when we start the timeline, every day I started Ethan and Xana's timeline with Taco Bell. I started Kaylee's timeline with Taco Bell, Maddie's timeline, Taco Bell. Went to Dylan's interview, which her interview is 2 hours. So that's going to be part 2 tomorrow. We are going to analyze the what out of that interview with all this information that we have now. That's going to be part 2 tomorrow, after we get through her timeline today. But she said in her interview, they went out for coffee. They went out for coffee. She doesn't say anything about Taco Bell. Nothing about Taco Bell. The only place Taco Bell is in the chart in the book. But there's Taco Bell in Xana's room. So that is a big red flag that I haven't gone down that path yet, but I'm going to. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that. All right. Thanks, Christina. I'm going to get to that in a second. Oh no, I'm going to actually start with that, because this is one of the things that WS mom Kim was talking about when she was on a Birdie's show. Get off. Okay. How do I get out of here? Okay. So I wanted a photo. So WSU mom Kim. Give me mine. Where's mine? Oh, it's probably is it in links? Oh, maybe not. Let me check the chat. Is Christina back? You posted under mods. Okay. Is this what I'm looking for? I'm looking, Christina, I'm looking for the bandana. It's hanging on her wall in her bedroom. So, oh, wait a minute. No, because that's a wig. That's a wig. Yeah, no. WSU Mom Kim was talking about when Emma Bailey would wear that head wrap scarf that her college age kids, WSU Mom Kim's college age kids, told her that that was like a sign, like I got the goods. Yeah, wrong head wrap. That's okay. I believe if you look in the released photos from ISP, if you have those, in her room, it's like hanging on the wall. And everybody in chat probably knows the picture I'm talking about. So I can just go ahead and talk about it. But when Kim said that about Emma, I'm like, Dylan's got one of those, like famously. Like I don't see one in Maddie's room. I don't see one in Kayla's room. Xana, maybe. Bethany doesn't have one, but Dylan has one and wears it. It could just be a wardrobe choice, not all head wraps mean that, but some do. So I'm just saying something to point out. All right, so I'm going to start with, I'm hearing some beeping. Let me check. The Idaho Statesman had some old articles yesterday when I was saying that Maddie took that Uber ride. And all right, where'd I put it? Oh, I got to get to the other. Okay. Maddie took the Uber ride and she didn't say who. It didn't say who. It just said not Uber. It said Lyft, a Lyft ride. Okay. So we found some evidence of other Lyft providers other than Eric Gower. So why does Eric Gower want to say he's the only one that does that in Moscow? Like that's weird. There we go. So I'm going to share this. We're just going to read this real quick for the information, and then we're getting into Dylan. Hi, everybody that's coming in. Oops. Add to stage. There we go. This is from January 17th, 2023. So what? November, December, a little over 3 months after the murders. So this is an old article, 7 weeks after the murders. And they're going over the account of the aftermath. There's a shrine at Mad Greek. The victims, them working at the Mad Greek. Okay, the 911 call. Because this would be the time when everybody was freaking out about the 8 hours. Okay, I wanted to start with this. The police said Dylan Mortensen, one of the 2 surviving roommates, heard what she thought was crying around the time of the alleged murders and a male voice she didn't recognize saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." She told authorities that she went to her door and saw a man dressed in black and wearing a ski mask coming toward her and froze. Remember, frozen shock phase. Don't really hear about that in any of her interviews, right? So I always point out the narrative. Where did that come from? Didn't come from Dylan. Dylan never said that, I don't think. But after that, he exited through a back sliding glass door. She locked her own bedroom door and she went back to bed, you guys, according to this article. She finally called 911 at 11:58 a.m. after first calling friends over to ask what to do about finding one of her roommates not moving, according to early news reports citing police sources. Then there was the haziness surrounding the grisly discovery. Confusion ensued in the hours before the police were called, said another neighbor, who identified herself as the best friend of one of the surviving roommates and asked not to be named for privacy reasons. She said she came to the house soon after the crime was discovered and learned from the surviving roommates, Mortensen and Bethany Bunka, that someone on the second floor wasn't moving. She said she first presumed the person had ingested something from someone that was laced. Okay, this is the report narrative that was 7 weeks after the murders. And I'm assuming this must be Emily, probably, if she came to the house. I don't know. I think Ava almost came over, so it wasn't until later she learned 4 people she knew had been stabbed and were not unconscious, but dead. When I was out there that day, I wasn't comprehending, she said. I'm still not. All right, now it's talking about the house. The victim's hilly campus adjacent neighborhood, crammed with large and small apartment buildings, plus family homes with rooms rented by students, was known as a party zone. Wait till you hear how this Lyft guy describes the area. Hi, Jessie Lynn. Good morning. It's okay if you can't find it, Christina. It's okay. All right. A friend and neighbor of the victims who said they often visited the gray 3-story home with a large balcony and a barbecue and a sofa in the backyard described it as and then it got cut off here, I'm assuming party house. Several residents of a large brick apartment building next door, that's the Queens, described disruptive late night parties with loud country music and numerous visitors coming and going through an unlocked door. Police were called to respond to complaints of loud parties at the house 3 times since August, according to reports obtained by Insider. Here we go. Here's the info. A Lyft driver, Vincent Sheets, said he'd started refusing to pick up or drop off anyone in the vicinity of the house on party nights because he'd experienced incidents in which his car was hit with vomit and people threw objects while he was driving. This is a weird way to describe vomit. His car was hit. Like, I don't know. I would say, yeah, the kids would always throw up in my car. I don't know. That's weird. And they would throw objects at him while he was driving. That's weird. What's up with Vincent Sheets here? Why are they throwing stuff at him? He said he previously worked as a caterer. This guy's also a caterer at several University of Idaho fraternity and sorority houses. I'm sure when they have their formals, they have them catered. Is that what he did? And he couldn't take it. He couldn't take working at those fraternities and sororities. This guy seems a little mad at the sororities and the fraternities. The amount of drugs and alcohol in this was mind effing boggling, he told them. You couldn't say it clear enough than that. And then they go on to Kaylee being a member of Alpha Phi, everyone else being a member of Phi Beta Pi, and then Chapin being Sigma Chi. The sororities were on probation at the University of Idaho in the weeks after the killings for health and safety violations. I've looked this up. They got it on lockdown. Like, you can't find information. You can only find a statement saying that they were on probation, and it'll only say for health and safety violations, but that the subcategories under that includes drugs and alcohol, but you can't find exactly why. And I always say, if a sorority is going to get in trouble, there have to be individuals that were responsible for getting in trouble. Who are those individuals? According to the university's Greek Life website, health and safety violations are about concerns regarding risk management, alcohol/drugs, or hazing. There's going to be one more Lyft driver named in here. In Moscow, some of the victims' neighbors speculated that Mortensen might have been intoxicated at the time of the killings. You think? And therefore did not respond appropriately to encountering a strange man in her house. But the house was known for frequent guests and noisiness in an area known for rowdy parties. Neighbors, too, were used to, it gets cut off at the bottom here. Matthew Moy, 22, a neighbor and a friend of Mortensen's, he's a friend of Mortensen's, defended her against criticism. She has been through one of the most traumatic things you can go through, and people are attacking her, he said. When you're in a stressful situation, you might not act how people think. At closing time on a late October weekend, Kaylee Galvez hired a Lyft driver, Dakota Kidder, to drive her and Madison Mogan home from a local bar. Now, Eric Gower did say that there was another Uber driver that he said was a female, but he said she didn't do it for long because she complained the kids did not tip. Don't know if it's this person or not. Dakota could be a boy or a girl. Don't know. Male, female, I don't know. So Kaylee hired a Lyft driver, Dakota. So not always taking Eric Gower. And here Kaylee's using Lyft and Maddie's using Lyft. They had spent their night, as they also would on the night of the murders, at the Corner Club. The popular watering hole is a small windowless haunt made of gray cinder blocks where 20-somethings sip cocktails made from Mike's Hard Lemonade, twisted tea, and rum. We used to have a drink that was served in a mug. It was a mixed drink served in a mug when I was at Kent State University, and only one bar made it. So I'm wondering if this is like a specialty drink they have there. Ours was called a Futhermucker. And they were really good. They were nice. They were not like sloppy drunk or anything. They were great riders, Kidder told Insider. They even tipped. So maybe this is the person that complained about not getting tipped, because she made sure to say they even tipped. I think that's all I wanted to share from this article. Let's see, what's this? 4 hours before and after the killings, Washington State University Police and Whitman County Sheriff's deputies were posted outside the suspect's apartment because of a bloody hit and run. So the cops were outside Brian Koberger's apartment at 11:40 p.m. the night of the homicides that sent the two pedestrians to the hospital with serious injuries. Turner Gardner, 26, told Insider that a man had been thrown from the road and a woman lay face down screaming. And I know that I think Christie's Chaos has videos about this hit and run incident. The night, this was early before midnight that night. Andrea McKenzie is another witness. This is interesting. Carmen Fernandez was in custody. Is her sister's name Brittany? Carmen Fernandez was the girl that was arrested for the DUI. If you guys have never looked into this hit and run outside of Brian's apartment the night of the murders, when you watch the body cam footage of the responders first talking to Carmen, she doesn't have her glasses. She can't find her car keys. It was very odd. It's a very odd interview to me. She said she was coming back from her sister's or going to have to pick up her sister. Is her sister's name Brittany? I need to look into that. Brittany Fernandez, not Brittany Fernande, the contact that Dylan added. I don't know. But I don't know what her sister's name is. I'm just thinking out loud. This goes on to talk about Brian. Seeing if they mention her sister's name. I'll look into that more. I'll cover that on another episode. I'm glad I kept scrolling because that's interesting. All right, here's some updates. An earlier version of the story misstated disciplinary actions that were taken against Alpha Phi and Pi Beta Phi sororities. They were on probation for health and safety violations, not suspension. Okay, so they did correct that. All right. All right, you guys, what are you guys saying? Ooh, shout out Christina, 1 month, unique peep. Put some peeps in the chat, you guys. We're starting to get anniversaries over here. We need an anniversary song. 1 month. All right. It is easier for me to look at my chat over here. What are you guys saying? Her sister's name is not Brittany. Oh, bummer. Thanks, Jen. Jen put the links to the articles. That's awesome. Oh, they didn't question those vandal vomiters. You guys, I'm going to start doing a comment of the day. Like, this is the winner so far today. What's on the screen, Jessie Lynn, is from news articles. Jen posted the links to them. Yesterday's comment of the day was dark humor. I did think it was funny though. So not meaning to be offensive, but it was funny. We were talking about Maddie yesterday, and we know the time frame when everybody's coming home. Bethany had sent out text messages to everybody, and she just missed Kaylee and Maddie. They were already in the car on the way home from the grub truck, and Bethany was like, bring me some mac and cheese. Bring me some mac and cheese from the grub truck, but she missed them. And someone said, Bethany, people were saying Bethany was hangry. The murders happened because Bethany didn't get mac and cheese. I mean, bad taste jokes, but it was funny. Those were funny. Comments of the day. I also need to do a corrections corner. I think it was Agape 13, if that's the username, was questioning. I had said that there was a Joe Lake article. No, report. Joe Lake's report. And I think I said it was number 10 that talked about Kaylee's bigs and littles. And I got that from the book. So it's in the book. The information's in the book, but it also cited a report. And that person was right. I went to report number 10 and it was not that one. So not my mistake. That's the book's mistake. So I have not found that information. I haven't found the right report yet. I do have written down that Joe Lake has a report, ISP 154. So it might be in that one, but I will keep looking. I do look at your comments and I do go back and reread the live chat because I get lots of good information out of there and questions. Oh, the anniversary song. I wish we could play real music on here. Tony, Tony, Tony. It's our anniversary. Did Italian Girl join? Hey, Italian Girl, Stoner Podcast. All right, there was one other article that had some information in it, and it is this one. Okay. Why can't I open it? What are we doing, dude? Oh, it did download. Okay. I don't want you. Did I say I hate Microsoft? I say that all the time. I hate Microsoft. I use Google. I'm a Google girl. But Microsoft is on my computer, so it's hard. It tries to sabotage all my work. I love that song, that anniversary song. That's a good one. I'll have to maybe Skull can help me. May I ask your thoughts about the book so far? Oh, yes, Becca. I will come right. Well, no, I haven't started this article yet. Okay, so the book. I don't know if you saw this yet, Becca, but here, let me take this down. So I have listened to the book all the way through, but just to like hear it. But I'm going back with my hard copy and like tagging every single page that has a topic. The book overall, I love the way that it's set up. I love the organization of it. The author goes through like the crime from the beginning and then the investigation and then is inserting the important key pieces of the investigation and suspects and the witnesses as he goes. I love the chart, the official timeline that it's in there because I've been referencing that like crazy. But then not only is the information in the chart with like where they got that information from, you can find in the book the narrative about it. Okay. So lots of examples like let me just pick one out of here. Like when the girls are all supposed to be like napping back at the house and stuff, like you can go back and like see Dylan's narrative about that or Bethany's narrative about that. I have not analyzed Brian's part yet. It might be frustrating to some people that like Christopher Whitcomb shares the information and highlights concerning components, but he doesn't really He will quote other people, like Brent Turvey will give a stronger opinion. So I feel like that's how Christopher Whitcomb does it. I don't feel like Christopher Whitcomb gives strong opinions in the book, but he'll just like say things like, no wonder this is, a concern in the true crime community, or no wonder this, he kind of like leaves it hanging out there like that, which we all see that anyways. Like, I'm thankful for the book for giving us the names that are redacted in the documents. If nothing else, that's huge to me. Meanie is asking, is there a digital version of the book that's not Kindle? You can listen to it on Spotify. I mean, you got to pay for it. I think it's like $15 or something. You're looking for something searchable like you can with her. Your library, Meanie. You can get digital copies of books at your library for free. I think. Check. I would check. I know the libraries, they have physical books, they have audio, and they'll do digital. Yep. The other things about the book is that, as he's an author, right? As an author, it's nonfiction, but he still has a story thread, right? You got to have like something through the book, connecting everything. And he's using that butterfly effect. And I love how he keeps referring back to that. Like he starts off with like just a flutter. And then I just read a part the other day where it's like, the butterfly is having like a volcanic eruption at this point. That's not exactly what he says, but it was or it was trembling or something. Like he's getting like, further and further with that. So yeah, I have analyzed more parts of the book deeper than others. Barnes and Noble has an ebook. Oh, did they reschedule? I'm glad he rescheduled because do you know the Gilter channels are going crazy because they canceled that live. There's people online saying that he got an NDA, or I mean, he got a cease and desist letter because Carlos asked me, he's like, why are they silent all of a sudden? Like, why isn't Christopher Whitcomb doing any more interviews? And I'm like, well, he pretty much went on everybody's show, like boom, 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 one right after the other. Like, he came out, he talked to everybody. Mainstream media doesn't want anything to do with him. So, and I'm glad to see that Turvey rescheduled May 11th. What's the date today? The 7th? 4 more days. Oh, that's not Saturday, is it? What time? What time are they? What's today? Thursday. Friday the 8th, Saturday the 9th. Oh, Monday. Okay, good. Okay, let me look at, is this the right one? Police visited the Idaho murder victim's home 3 times since August to break up loud parties fueled by White Claw and country music. Those of you that are joining, we are going over Dylan Mortensen's timeline in just a second. I had these articles sent to me yesterday to address some of the facts that I was giving yesterday. So I want to find as much information, as much true, documented information as I can. So right now, from these articles, we have 3 Uber Lyft driver names. And I want to see what this one has. What does this article have in it? This is talking about the police showing up. talking about an unconscious person, frozen shock phase. The house was always noisy. Oh, this one says it again. Vincent Sheets, a Lyft driver. Oh, is this the same article in two different places? Oh, did I click on the wrong one? No, it must be the same one. Oh, okay. It was one article. Good. Good, good, good. It is time for the projector. All right. And heading over to with Dylan, we have to make note of Friday night. Okay. Tomorrow we're going to watch. We're not just going to watch because I know we've probably all seen it and listened to it a bunch of times, but we are going to analyze the heck out of Dylan's interview tomorrow. I don't think I'd be able to do it today. It's a 2-hour interview, and sometimes it takes me over an hour to get through a 30-minute video. So we're going to do that tomorrow. We're shredding that interview, you guys. In that interview, however, Gooch, I love that, the Gooch, she asks Dylan, tell me about Saturday. Start at the beginning of Saturday. And Dylan immediately goes to Friday night. Okay. And talking about going to the formal. So the Pi Beta Phi, what the sorority that everybody in the house everybody in the house belonged to Pi Phi. Do I need to show these? Hold on. No, not now. Sorry, you guys. I got resources pulled up and I'm like, what did I want to show when? So in the book on page 153, it tells us some information about that from Dylan. That's important. Because I have questions about this. All right, 153. Here's how it went down. The Gooch asked Dylan to describe what the girls did on the 12th of November. That was Saturday. But she went to describing the formal on Friday night. And I think it's hilarious that the Gooch calls it the ball, like they went to the Cinderella ball. Dylan starts talking about Friday night, the 11th. She explained she started drinking at 4:30 on the 11th. Okay. She described the individuals at the ball, including her roommates, as well as Ethan and his triplet brother, Hunter, then Emily, Josie, Lyndon, Jenna, Claire, Hayden, and Gideon. Yessie, Lisa, Matt, and Aaron, and their dates, which their dates were Fiji fraternity members. Maddie Thornton, and Lakeland. Lakeland's date was Hayden. Kaylee Gonsalves was Dylan's date for the ball. So here's what I don't understand. So my first question was, where was the ball? Where was it at? Okay. And it was at, they all had to be at the Pi Phi house at a certain time. Then they were all getting on a bus and they were going to a different location. I did not find where the location was. I just knew it was at a different, like how Maisie's, they all met at Maisie's sorority and then they all went to the Hungadunga. So they have these at different places. Okay. I don't think that they actually got on the bus and went to the second location. I think they were just at the Pi Phi house. Dylan described how this is what's in the book. What we're tomorrow when we listen to this interview, there's different information in there. Dylan described how she got home on Friday night by using an Uber from the Pi Phi ball to their residence. Maybe they did get on the bus and go. It's very unclear. That's why I'm looking at all these different resources to try to figure this out. She explained she and her roommates normally have Eric as their Uber driver. So Dylan does know Eric. Eric pretends like he doesn't know if Dylan is a guy or a girl in his interview. But they did not have Eric on the night of the 11th. She does not remember the name of the Uber driver on Friday night. And this was around 8:30 p.m. She explained she and the roommates trust Eric. So they had to be, I believe, from the interview, they had to be at the house at like 7 p.m., I think. But I thought they were only there for 30 or 40 minutes max. That's why I didn't think they got on the bus and went anywhere. I'm going to cue this part up right now. I know I have it. It's too important not to, because I don't want to like tease you guys hanging for tomorrow. So we can listen to just this part because we need to get some more information. My questions are, Dylan asked Kaylee to be her date, like come back for the weekend, be my date. At the most, it looks like they spent 30 minutes together, like the whole weekend. Like even when they got back from the formal, Kaylee went to the bar with Maddie. Dylan went to the Whites with everybody else. Like they didn't even hang out. So why did she have to bring Kaylee as her date? And there's even two different places. Let me see. It's like sometimes she mentions Kaylee and sometimes she doesn't. Not there. It's got to be in the interview. It's good to be in the interview. So let me get it up. Cue it up.
What did you text her?
I said, Kaylee, what's going on? Please answer.
Okay. We're going to back up to the information.
Do you use Facebook or Snapchat?
Yeah. So the main two ways we text is Snapchat and text.
Okay.
I switch between both. Like it's never like, oh, I only text this. Like I don't, like it's both kind of.
Okay. Do you have a preference on which one you normally use?
No, it just is like if
Or
they
does it depend on who you're talking to?
I guess it would be, it depends on who I'm talking to and like how important it is. Usually if it's more important, I text.
Okay. It starts at almost the 5-minute mark.
Where I left to go to somewhere. So pretty much Saturday night, we got home from the White's apartment.
It's like 4:57.
I don't remember exactly when I woke up. We started drinking champagne right off the bat.
Tell me what formal is. So like a ball.
So that's where Gooch calls it the ball.
Kind of like that. Me and my friend ended up not going to formal. We went to the house and then just came back home and like kept drinking.
Okay, so what did she say right there? Me and my friend ended up not going to formal. We just came back and like kept drinking. I told you we are going to analyze the heck out of this tomorrow, but I had to show this little part right here. I rewound it too far. Right there. Okay.
Ended up not going to formal. We went to the house.
Oh, come on. Okay, we'll just do here.
Yeah.
So tell us about Saturday. Let's talk about the 12th, the
Okay.
day of the game.
So she says, tell me about the 12th, the day of the game. Okay, let me talk about Friday.
What time did you get up on the 12th?
I don't even know. We had formal and we had a little party on Friday, so obviously a lot of us were pretty drunk that night. I don't remember exactly when I woke up. We started drinking champagne right off the bat.
Tell me what formal is. So like a ball.
Kind of like that. Me and my friend ended up not going to formal. We went to the house and then just came back home.
Why does she say me and my friend? Me and my friend ended up not going to formal. We went to the house. So they went to the Pi Phi house. I mean, I have a lot of questions about this. My crazy brain, do not take this, do not spread this. This is just, I'm like, well, I don't know if this makes sense because it wasn't Kaylee's. What we've heard, it was not Kaylee's idea to want to go. Why would Kaylee want to go to a Pi Phi formal when she's an Alpha Phi? Why would Dylan want Kaylee to go to a Pi Phi formal when she's an Alpha Phi? And they don't ever really hang out together. Like, as I'm going through all these timelines, like Dylan and Kaylee aren't really hanging out together. So my thought was, did Kaylee want to get into the Pi Phi house? Was there a reason? Or did the Pi Phis want Kaylee there for some reason? Who wanted Kaylee there? Someone wanted Kaylee there, in my opinion. That's what it looks like to me. Let me see what you guys are saying. Mallory Morton, hello. You think that's weird? I do too. Because if she doesn't say a name, then she's not lying, right, Becca? You hear her, how her voice is excited when she talks about texting and the difference and the different ways to do it, much different from talking about the 13th. Yeah. Ended up not going to formal. Was she referring to Kaylee? Because she supposedly invited her. That's what I'm saying, Stoner. There's in some resources or documents or videos, she talks about Kaylee going, and then in others, she doesn't. Hey, Meanie. Yeah, the Hunga Dunga. This is not the Hunga Dunga dance. That sounds ridiculous saying that. Hunga Dunga was supposedly Saturday night, and that was Maisie's formal. Maisie's in a whole nother sorority. Dylan, her formal was on Friday night, the 11th. So we're at Friday night, the 11th. And her and Kaylee and lots of other people went to the formal. All right, let me see what else she says.
And like kept drinking and partying at my house. And then it was like more of a smaller party. It was people that we were closer to, just mostly not like everyone else.
From what I have read, there were like 4 people there. So she's saying there was like 4 people at the party at her house. So remember, they keep telling us when we look at the crime scene photos, that the evidence that we see of a party, so the beer pong table, the crushed cans all over the house, all the drinks everywhere, the backpack that's left, like everything is from this party Friday night. But Dylan says that, let me find that part. But I need to go back over here. So in the book, it says that Dylan says they left the formal around 8:30. They got brought home by Eric Gower. Then she says they went to the White just for a little bit, but that she got bored and she went home. She said it was her, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan that went to the formal. She says it was her, Dylan, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan that went to the formal. Did someone not write this down correctly in their report? So it doesn't say Kaylee there. But then the page before, it does say Kaylee Gonsalves was Dylan's date for the ball. Why do we have to do this in this investigation? Eventually, a group from the Pi Phi event transitioned to Dylan and the other roommate's house, and there was a party that continued there until the early morning hours of November 12th, Saturday. Dylan had to look at her phone to verify the timeline. So here's who she says came to the house Friday night. She said, Zach is the twin brother of Jenna. So Zach, Yessie, and Dylan. Zach, Yessie, Dylan, and Jenna. So Jenna and Zach are twins, and they were both at 1122 drinking with Dylan, hanging out Friday night, and so was Yessie. And that's all she says. She says Maddie and Kaylee were at the bar Friday night and doesn't say where Ethan and Xana are Friday night. That's like a kickback, not a party to me. What do you guys think about that? Hi, Karen. Love you back. Hunga Dunga was about a question in the comments. Sorry, Meanie. Sorry. Sometimes I'm not always following the whole chat, so I know creators take comments out of context. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right, back to the timeline. Hopefully I showed you how we are going to go attack that interview tomorrow. Going back to my projector for the timeline. Hopefully it's showing up. Yep. All right. All right. Now again, okay, I should change this because Dylan says, well, I don't know if I should change it. The timeline says that everybody went to Taco Bell. Remember that one interview by the frat guy? And he said, Ethan always said, Taco Bell. I'm going to Taco Bell. I always want to say it like that. Let's see where that source is from. Here's what the book says about the Pi Phi formal. It says Kaylee was Dylan's date. Xana and Ethan attended to, and they returned home at 8:30 by Uber. They had a party at 1122 King after the ball. That's what it says on the timeline. Also on the timeline, going to Taco Bell comes from Bethany. So Bethany says, wait a minute. Bethany didn't go with them. Bethany didn't go with them, but Bethany's the one that says they went to Taco Bell. That's interesting. Now, according to Dylan, she said they went for coffee and alcohol. Because I think she said Xana got, I'm going to need my pen. I am going to need a pen. And where did I put it? Oh, here it is. All right. Coffee and booze. Then at 12:54, Dylan sends an Instagram message to Maddie, Kaylee, and Josie. 12:54. We don't get to know what it is. All right, here we go from 2 to 3. We have to say from 2 to 3 because some people think that they went to Kayla N's party between 2 and 2:30. Some people think it was between 2:30 and 3. So sometime in here, Dylan arrived at Kayla N's party with Maddie, Xana, Ethan, Hunter Johnson, Josie, Lyndon, Kai Davis, Allie, and Sky. And they went to Kayla Nguyen's Alpha Phi. She's an Alpha Phi. They went to her party at 621 Taylor Street. Okay. Yeah. One thing I wanted to look into this too is there's a video of those guys. I think I played it when my live that I did on Ethan and Xana's timeline. I played the clip of the two guys that live at the Queen Road Apartments, and they were outside walking around this time, and they saw a group leave 1122, and they said it was like 3 girls and 2 guys. Leaving the house, and then they met up with like another group of people that was all like, hey, and then they all started walking towards the party. So I don't know if all these people were actually at the house. I know Kai says he was at the house in his interview. Ethan's obviously there. So are those the 2 guys? I don't remember from Hunter Johnson's interview if he says he was there that morning, or Lyndon's interview if he says he was there that morning. That would be interesting to, I'm going to make note of that. Which guys? We're at 1122 before 2 o'clock. All right. And then at 3:12, Dylan sends Josie an Instagram message. Now, I need to go back and double check because I told you guys yesterday there's 2 Josies. There's a Josie T and Josie L. I did not. Is it Josie L or T? And I have a feeling that I think it's Torville might be more friends with Dylan. I have a feeling. I don't know. Maybe she's friends with Josie because she comes over all the time with Emily. I don't know. And then we know everybody's back at the house. 1122, 451, 450. Dylan gets an Instagram message from Maddie. So at almost 1 o'clock, Dylan's sending an Instagram message to Maddie, Kaylee, and Josie. And Maddie sends something back at 450. They're supposed to be all back at the house, making something to eat. I think Dylan said her and Kaylee made pasta and Xana made a sandwich. At 5:44, Dylan calls and has a 3-minute and 51-second phone call with Natalie Dayton. Let's scooch this up. And it says per TLO. I don't know what, I forgot to look up. What is TLO? I don't know what that is. Anybody know? Let me look real quick. Just do a quick Google. What is TLO? Here's what it says. It's a threat liaison officer. It's a TransUnion locator services. Oh, that's investigative data. TransUnion locator services. So I looked it up. There's 3 different acronyms. Oh, there's 4 different acronyms. It depends what you're talking about. So in parentheses, it tells you what you're talking about. We are talking about an investigation. So it's a sophisticated, listen to this, you guys, a sophisticated investigative tool / database used by private investigators and law enforcement officials and law enforcement to locate individuals using public records, social media, and phone data. Wow. They had to use all that to find this phone call? Why couldn't they just see that she had a phone call on her phone? This was obviously not a regular phone call. This had to have been a phone call through some kind of maybe an app that hides it, disappears, it got deleted. I don't know. TransUnion locator service. I'm writing that down. Right? Is that what it said? No. TransUnion. Sorry, guys. I'll put it right here. Locator service. Interesting. Let me see what you guys are saying. Oof. Oh my gosh, I was way behind. Way behind on the comments. Good point, Meanie. Maybe this is something Cy Ray might talk about in his book, right? There has never been a murder case in America with 4 stabbed to death where they were not all tied up. What? That's interesting. All right. So now we're at 5 to 8 p.m. where everybody's napping. Dylan says they were all napping. Dylan says that they were napping from 5 to 8. Other people said 6 to, well, Bethany said 6 to 8. At 8:04, Dylan calls Maddie and she doesn't answer. We went over this on Maddie's timeline yesterday. Maddie texts her back, "Can I call you later?" I talked about how that sounds like it sounds like she's in the middle of something, right? "Can I call you later? Like, I can't talk right now. Can I call you later?" And then Dylan says, "Yes." Like, "Yes, call us later. We, Jay," like just, J for just, "We, Jay, called you to wake up and come down," because they had all set their alarms for 8 o'clock. And apparently Maddie didn't get up. So, hey, look at that super chat. Thank you, Stoner Podcast Media. I appreciate that. Thanks for the Dylan Mort timeline. Oh, thank you. This is super interesting going through all these timelines. And I went back and was listening to that Birdie episode where he had WSU Mom Kim on, and he made a comment about the investigation, like not being able to follow it. Like, and he's correct. Like, it's just information all over the place. And it's really hard to try to track a straight line through this case. And when he said that, I was like, I'm trying, Birdie. I'm trying. I'm trying to like take this hot mess of information that we have and like try to plug it through this day and night and see where it leads us and where everybody's at. It is helping me a lot to like look at one time and then look at everybody. Right? Isn't that? I think it's helpful. But thank you for that comment. Whoops. I want this. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank 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 you for the support. Thank you. Thank you.
Whoops. And whoops. I'm working on some birthday songs too, because we've had some birthdays. So I'm going to get caught up on that when I get them uploaded. All right, back to the timeline. So that's all we get. Like, just that, you know, Maddie can't talk and just assume she's up in her room, but doesn't want to talk. Then at 8:57, Dylan receives an Instagram message from Kaylee. So she is communicating with Kaylee. She gets a message from Kaylee. Earlier, she got a message from Maddie. Earlier, she sent a message to Kaylee and Maddie. At 9 p.m. Let's see if I can make this bigger for you guys. Maddie and Bethany go to Peter's at Sigma Chi. And remember, Maddie's only there for like 9 minutes at the most. Maddie goes there, and I did read in the book, someone described that the party was, I think, or maybe it's Dylan. Dylan might talk about it in her interview, that the Sigma Chi party wasn't as hoppin' as they thought it was going to be. That's why they keep going like out to the lodge main area and then back to the apartments, because they're like checking, hey, is the party picking up yet? Is the party getting live yet? New member. Hey there, Juror 13. Welcome to the Unique peeps. Put some peeps in the chat, everybody. Welcome, welcome. All right. So, all right, going to Sigma Chi. Ethan and Xana supposedly go after them. When I did Ethan and Xana's timeline, it was not clear if they walked over there together. It's just not clear. Now, if we look at this timeline, it's just Maddie and Bethany going. The reason I say it's not clear is because on Ethan's timeline, it said he was parking the Explorer at 1122 at like 9:27 or 9:37. And we didn't know exactly where Xana was. I can go back to it right here. I love being able to cross-reference this stuff too. Yeah, we have nothing from Xana. Watch. Here is Xana and Ethan's timeline. This is Ethan at So at 9 o'clock, he's still driving the Explorer from Hungadunga over to the fraternity. Or I mean the sorority house. He's still at the sorority house at 9 o'clock. Here we go. So I'm at, here we go. 9 p.m. according to Dylan. 9 p.m. according to Dylan, Maddie and Bethany are going to Sigma Chi. And she says Ethan and Xana go after them. So that's not an exact time. So it's just sometime after 9. Okay. That tracks. But if we go back to Ethan's timeline, and I've got Xana right over here next to him. Ethan is supposedly stopping at Sigma Chi at 9:24. So he goes there. Supposedly they're saying Ethan is driving the Explorer. But in the chart, it says it's assumed that Ethan is driving the Explorer. And I'm like, hi, Maisie and Hunter Chapin are in the Explorer. They told you who's driving it. Why do you have to say assumed? 9:24. Ethan stops at Sigma Chi. We don't know where Xana is. There is nothing in the chart data-wise to show where Xana is, except that she was napping supposedly at the house. So she's just supposedly still at the 9:27 is when the Explorer gets back to the house. 9:31. I hope I have this on Dylan's chart. At 9:31, Dylan calls Xana. So Bethany and Dylan both say that Xana and Ethan go to Pete's after 9. They just say after 9. So at least it's consistent. So here's Dylan. Dylan walked alone to the party later, but there was no time. This is when she said, I had a paper to write. And when we watch her interview, the time that she says she turns the paper in, let me see if I have it here. Yeah, I do. So I'll wait till I get to it. So everybody's going to Sigma Chi except for Kaylee and Dylan at 9 o'clock. Kaylee's at home. Dylan's at home. Xana's supposedly at home. Maddie and Bethany are going to Sigma Chi. From 9:08 to 9:10, Dylan's at home and she's taking 12 photos. So I'm like, she's at her house. Where is she taking these photos? What is she taking photos of? At 9:08. Because she's supposed to be working on a paper. She's supposed to be working on a paper. At 9:18, Dylan calls Maddie. Maddie's at, let's see. Maddie's should already be back. Maddie left Sigma Chi at like 9:09 to walk back to the house. They said it's a 2-minute walk from Sigma Chi to their house. Maddie should be back at the house, but Dylan calls her and it's a 14-second call. Then Dylan calls Xana. So Maddie's in the house. Maddie should be in the house and Xana should be in the house. And Dylan's calling them. Maybe she's saying, hey, keep it down. I'm writing a paper. Shut up. I'm trying to write a paper. Can you turn the music down? I don't know. At 9:39, that's where that Cougar Den, there's a chat message group created called Cougar Den. And Dylan's in it, Maddie's in it, and Bethany's in it. Kaylee and Xana are not in that chat, in that group. And they add Ethan. And we've talked about this on every timeline. Why do you add Ethan? Because you want to communicate with him. There's things we have to tell Ethan. And we don't want Xana to know and we don't want Kaylee to know. Maybe. Then we go to 10:30. 10:30, Dylan leaves 1122. And she sees Riley Moreland with Kaylee. And I should have wrote down where I got this from. Oh, it must be from the chart. So let me look at the chart because let me see I need to cross-check this with Kaylee's timeline. What time did Kaylee and Maddie get to the bar? What time did Kaylee and Maddie get to the bar? Is it 10:15 or 11:15? So I've got Maddie's timeline right here. Oh my God, you guys, look at this. (10 to 10:15). 10 to 10:15, Kaylee and Maddie arrive at the Corner Club. And this is in the book on page 293. So in the book, it's saying they got to the Corner Club at 10 to 10:15. Dylan says she sees Kaylee at home at 10:30. Does she mean 9:30? Is this so? I made a little note. Like, is this Boise time? Remember, she always has Boise time issues. I don't know. Because I was listening to her interview last night, and when she's telling Gooch all of her timeline, she does not catch the Boise time thing until later in the night. So everything she had said up to that point, I don't know if they went back and changed it. I mean, they should have. So this is curious. So then Dylan says she arrives at Sigma Chi at the 10:30 time. But here's my conundrum. Okay. This is why I was wondering if it was Boise time, because Dylan would not be crossing paths with Maddie. Dylan says in her interview, she was walking towards Sigma Chi and Maddie was coming from Sigma Chi holding a 6-pack of White Claws, not a big 12-pack, a 6-pack of White Claws somewhere around the dumpster area. And on Maddie's timeline, she left Sigma Chi about 9:09. So something's off with this time. When Dylan, so what I do when I come across these discrepancies, I'm just double checking all the sources, right? I will go back. I'm going to go back to the chart. I'm going to go back to the book. I'm going to go back to the reports and the interviews. So at least now we have like 4 sources to check for just Dylan. And then we can also cross-reference now with the other timelines that I have. So Dylan says when she gets to Sigma Chi that she sees Ethan, Hunter, and Xana, and that's Hunter Chapin. She also sees Yessie and Gideon. All these people are in apartment 4. Gideon is hanging out with Dylan. Dylan's hanging out with Gideon. And remember, that's written on her arm. So those two were hanging out. And according to her, they kept going in and out of the lodge. Like they'd go to apartment 4, then they'd go back to the main party, then they'd go back to apartment 4. She said it's because the party wasn't really that active. And so they kept checking. Then she says, oh, okay. Here's a big discrepancy between Dylan and Bethany. Oh, wait a minute. I skipped right here. 12:04. So we're at 4 minutes after midnight. Dylan sees Xana for the last time at Allie's apartment. And I do have an address for that. I forget where I wrote it down at. Allie's is... Did I write it on here? I know I wrote it down. But I don't know where. Maybe it's in the book. Let me look at the book. I'm writing notes all over the place. I just have to remember where they're at. All right, not handy, but I did find it and I do have it written down. The curious thing about this is that I believe Bethany does not put Dylan at Allie's house. I don't think Bethany says she sees Dylan there, but Dylan says she's there. And Dylan says that's where she sees Xana for the last time. And when I did Xana's timeline, it is documented that she is at Allie's twice on this day, on the 12th. And here's the other, if you guys never caught this, the interesting thing is that both times that Xana is at Allie's apartment Ethan gets that text message from Erica saying you're being cheated on shortly after every time Xana's at Allie's. So that would make you think someone at Allie's house is texting Dylan. I mean, Ethan. Texting Ethan. You're getting cheated on. Just seems like it. Just seems like it. Dylan remembers seeing Xana there because she says she saw her holding a White Claw. Jenna, you want to know who lives at Allie's house? Good question. Oh, you guys are talking about the Tate murders? Oh, no, I hope my mouse didn't die. No, okay. Reading your comments. The timeline in the book is supposed to be Moscow time. It's supposed to be Moscow time in the chart. Definitely for everybody except Dylan. Now, Dylan would be the only one I would question because now remember the timeline in the book, it's not Christopher Whitcomb's like timeline. It is the official timeline. He took the timestamps information from the investigators. So it is the timeline chart in the book is Moscow PD and Idaho State Police, their official timeline stamps, their timestamps. So if there's a mistake, if there's a mix up, it's because they didn't. Dylan would be the only one that would have that discrepancy, I believe. Okay, so at 12:04, Dylan's taking a photo. So where is she at 12:04? Oh, she says she's at Allie's. But it never says when does she go to Allie's. All right? So like when? So tomorrow when we listen to her interview, we're going to be listening for when. When does she go to Allie's? She's taking a photo. Now, I don't know if she has a photo of Xana holding this White Claw. Maybe. It's kind of odd. I think Dylan is she's kind of like texting everybody. She's taking photos all day. Remember she took 12 photos at the house earlier. I know they were taking pictures, together and stuff like that, but it also seems like documenting. Especially because when you watch their interviews, when you watch Bethany and Dylan's interview, everything is, let me look at my phone to see a photo so I can document the time. But the Sigma Chi guys didn't do that. I don't know if any of the other girls that were interviewed, did they do that? Did Emily do that? Did Josie Lautner do that? Lautner, whatever her name is. I think that's a curious thing to point out. Go back and look at these interviews. Who used their phones for everything and who didn't. Oh yeah, Max Smith. I call it a narrative. But everybody can have their own like theories and opinions in the chat. I just don't. I know. I think I saw some chatting earlier about like the whole WITSEC program and all that stuff, and I don't talk about that theory. But even I was talking to Carlos about all the secrecy in this case. And I, just pointing out to him, I'm like, no wonder people start having like running down those types of rabbit holes because they're allowing us to. You're not filling in the gaps. You're not explaining what happened exactly for this crime. Yeah, that's the point of it, Max. It's like I understand why people would go down that rabbit hole, but then on the other hand, I think it gives disrespectful vibes to the victims of a real tragedy, you know? That's the gray area. So now we're at 12:17. Okay, so I did make note of it here. At 12:17, Bethany is going to talk about being at Allie's house, and she says Dylan's not there. Like, she does not mention Dylan being there, according to Bethany. And that's in Bethany's interview. Dylan's not there. So there's a couple times that Dylan and Bethany have discrepancies. DM and BF. I always mess up ENCE words and ANCE words. And there's a rule for it, and I don't know the rule. That might be an E discrepancy. At 1:15 a.m., Dylan is supposedly at Allie's apartment. Allie's apartment, I thought they said it was at the Whites. Now this is driving me crazy because I knew I wrote this down. I think it's on my clipboard and I didn't bring it in. Sorry, you guys. Allie's is either at the Whites or it's on Idaho Avenue. Someone's apartment's on Idaho Avenue. I just was looking that up. No, that's where I think that's the address for Pi Beta Phi. I think Pi Beta Phi is on Idaho Avenue. I think Allie's is at the Whites. I think. 1:15 to 1:30, Dylan is calling a Sobro for a ride. And I think someone mentioned yesterday that all these Sobros that are they're just carting people around all night of the 12th. Did they get interviewed? Did the Sobros get interviewed? I think they would have a lot of information, right? They're just carting everybody around. And a Sobro drives Dylan and Lake back to 1122. And in her interview, she says it's because Lakeland had like a whole Borg and she could hardly walk. And so that's why they didn't walk home. They had someone drive them. So think about at 1:15, Lakeland is so drunk, she can hardly walk that they take a ride home. But then Lakeland is gone by 2 a.m. Less than an hour, Lakeland's fine to walk home. In 45 minutes, Lakeland sobers up to walk home. Do you think that's realistic? She had some popcorn. She had some popcorn and it made her feel better and good enough to walk home. I don't know. When I had nights like that, I went to sleep. I would be like, throw me in a bed and let me sleep this off. At 1:22, Dylan goes to her room. And that's when she gets the buck tooth. Kaylee sends a message. Maddie just called me a buck tooth bitch. That was at 1:22. Dylan says she's in her room. So Dylan in her interview, this is why we are going to watch her interview tomorrow. And we are going to be watching for these time frames. How can she be getting a ride between 1:15 and 1:30? But then she's going to her room because Lakeland's gone at 1:22. I mean, these times just don't match up. These times don't match up. Let me double check. Make sure I didn't write it down wrong. These are from the chart. And we'll get to 1 a.m. 1:15 to 1:30. This is from Dylan's own interview. According to Dylan's interview, 1:15 to 1:30, she's calling for a sobro. $122, Lakeland leaves the house and Dylan goes to her room at 1:22. At 1:22. That's Bethany's interview. So here's another time. This is another time. Now I get it. It could be, we're talking like if it's like 30 minutes or less of a discrepancy in time, I get it. Like you're trying to remember timelines. So I'm not being that nitpicky. However, I am trying to track this down. Kane, hey Kane. What was she doing in her room? Not cleaning or sleeping in that disaster of a bed, right, Meanie? Right? Did anyone verify the Sobro ride? I don't know. Giraffes, bruh. I don't know. Bucktooth biatch. Oh my goodness. So yeah. Let me see. I'm gonna put BF is different. Because I still have Bethany's timeline to do, right? So today's Thursday. We're going over Dylan's timeline. Tomorrow I want to do Dylan's interview. And then I'll come back Monday with Bethany's timeline. All right, at 2:10. This is where, because they're supposedly all up in the room, right? That's not even mentioned. Is that mentioned in here? Did I mess this up? Let me see. McComas leaves. Let me see. I'm looking for up in the room, right? Oh, that would be at 2 a.m. Bethany says they all go to their room at 2 a.m. Yeah, it doesn't mention anything about Dylan in the room with the girls when they come home with their Mac from the grub truck. It just says all the girls. So I do believe that Dylan is up in the room at 2 a.m. So we'll put that right here. We'll put 2 o'clock. Kane, it was Bethany snapping because she didn't get grub truck. She didn't get grub truck. That's just a joke, you guys. Bad joke. At 2 a.m., Dylan, Bethany, Maddie, and Kaylee in Kaylee's room. And you guys, there should be, I believe it says, it does say Bethany took photos with Murphy at this time in Kaylee's room. Kaylee took videos at this time in her room. It didn't say anything about Dylan taking any type of photos or anything at this time. Double checking that. Nope, nothing else about photos, but there should be digital evidence about this time period. because that time is important. It's like, who changed their clothes? What was everybody wearing at the last, moments before these crimes happen, right? Things like that. All right, then at 2:10, we have that message to Eric Gower. And Dylan asked him, "Are you driving tonight? By chance? Are you driving tonight by chance?" He does text back, and Dylan does say that she sees it, but it's like it's not clicked on, like it's open. But you can still read your text messages even though you don't click on them. Okay. At 2:13 a.m., Eric texts back, "I am," but then Dylan doesn't respond, and she just says she goes to bed after that. But this is the time difference. She was during her interview, and we watch it. She's gonna say all of this was happening at 3:13 a.m. And that's when she's like, "Oh, wait, is this Boise time?" And because she's like, "I thought it was earlier. I thought it was earlier." And then she's like, "Oh, yeah, it was at 2:13 a.m." So this is the correct Moscow time in the chart. But in her interview, she's going to be saying that. At 3:51 a.m., Dylan is creating a phone contact for Brittany Fernandez. When I was listening to WSU Mom Kim on Birdie's show, she was giving her opinion about the DoorDash, and she still thinks that Emma would have been the DoorDash delivery driver. And I thought that's who it was until we learned about Molly McMichaels. I thought it was Emma. And Kim says she called Jack in the Box and spoke to a young male worker there. And he said it was someone with long dark hair that picked up the food. Someone else went out there. Didn't Rory go out there? Someone, JLR, somebody went out there, and I thought they also went in and talked to somebody, and they said the same thing. So a long time ago, there were these reports that the DoorDash driver had this long dark hair. And then Kim was talking about how the boy said that she didn't really use the DoorDash app. She did it another way, almost like she was a personal food delivery person, which it could be possible. I mean, you could do that. If she did that, there would have to be, it was Rory. Thanks, Leah. The good old days when we have Rory out there, and yeah, good memories. Oh my gosh, Kane, go find that 712 camera. I think we need to we should go do a sit-in outside the Moscow Police Department until they give us the 712 camera. Let's go do a sit-in. I'm a hippie at heart, you guys. And protesting is on my bucket list. We're going to chain ourselves to the door until you give us the 712 camera. Hey, it just takes one person. It just takes one person to start it. Hey, Dago. Happy anniversary. Oh, we've mentioned anniversary twice. I need that song. Anniversary song. They probably both went out there. They were both out there doing stuff. But anyways, I was just thinking, if there was somebody delivering DoorDash personally, not through the DoorDash account, how would you communicate with them? It would have to be texting or calling. If you didn't want it to be known who you were, I don't know. I was just wondering if there was some way this was connected to that. I don't know how it would be connected, but at the very least, who is this person? Let me know in the chat. Has anybody gotten any leads on this, Brittany Fernande? Anybody figured it out yet? It's also interesting that this is at 3:51. And let me look at the end of Kaylee and Maddie's timeline. Wait, that's Dylan. That's Dylan. This is Ethan. No, that's an hour. This is an hour after. There's no more activity. Maddie and Kaylee's, like, nothing else new is from them. Like, this hit me so hard yesterday when I looked at where does Ethan's timeline stop? Where does Maddie and Kaylee's timeline, their timeline stops at 2:53 a.m. after all these frantic calls, no more activity. So keep that in your mind of what happened. And then an hour almost goes by and Dylan's just adding a contact in her phone. Did 2 of the murders already happen at this time? Did all 4 of the murders already happen at this time? They originally said the murders happened between 3 and 4 a.m. That was the original timeline. Then we have 4 to 4:20, which is the new narrative, the new timeline based on Dylan. It's all based on Dylan. It started with an F, itty bitty poof. And where do we find this at? This was in Dylan's phone records. I actually have it. They released Dylan's like text message records and it was in there. So this is where Dylan says, I hear Kaylee singing and playing music in the living room. And I just kept trying to picture this. Okay. Kaylee and Maddie come home drunk. They ate their food. They took the dog out. They changed their clothes. They're ready for bed. Is Kaylee by herself singing and playing music in the living room? That just doesn't seem realistic to me. I think I'd be exhausted, like laying down in my bed. Either there would be other people with me. There would be other people with Kaylee in the living room singing, dancing, and playing music because we're all still hanging out. I also, my own personal opinion is that there were all these parties going on that night. This is the party house. 1122 is the party house. That's the part. They throw the best parties. That's the party house. They didn't have people come back after all the other parties. Everybody didn't end up back at 1122 on a big party night. I think the chances, I think the odds of that happening are very high. If you looked at like probably past behavior. The investigators didn't really ask about that though. They didn't ask about that. Was Kaylee alone in the living room singing and dancing? Playing music? And then Dylan just hears her walk upstairs and scream, someone's here, and scream and run back downstairs frantically. And I don't know why all of a sudden in that new video that this got changed. I think maybe in the book. There might be some discrepancy of this in the book. I don't remember. And I don't think I have it marked. You will try to find a picture from the beginning of Brittany, Dylan's friend. Oh, you guys know who it is. It doesn't sound right. I mean, unless Kaylee was acting like Britney Spears. Sorry. Sorry. Singing and dancing by herself in a room. Reading your comments. Dylan said we didn't have a party tonight, meaning Saturday night, and also meaning she never went to sleep. Oh, also, I think it was on Devil's Advocates last night. They played the clip from one of the body cams of the officers. I think it's when Lanier is down at the end of the road, and some people hear him say CI in the house. They also say there was a party in that house that night. I think the crime scene looks like there was a party in the house that night. Ooh, you saw the cop getting hurt. Apparently there's a news station covered it, I guess. I got to find that. I agree, Love and Other Habits. This night has several plausible scenarios. That's why these holes, missing information, is so critical. Yes. Yes. Because in these holes of information, there could be an important person, right? There could be an important place. There could be an important event. Absolutely. All right, then. That really bothers me too. Like, I don't know if I was Dylan and this is true and I heard this and like thinking back, I'm like, oh my God, she was, my friend Kaylee, my roommate was like really running for her life at this moment. And even though at the time I didn't think it, but now I would never be able to speak about this without like becoming hysterical. I would feel so guilty. I would feel so guilty. But we all watch these interviews and we notice what emotions coming out when the survivors are like telling their stories and the lack of emotion that we see, right? Now, they don't give any times. They don't give any times, just sometime between 4 and 4:20 on the official timeline chart. They talk about Dylan opening her door. The first time, she doesn't see anybody. The second time, she hears Kaylee crying in the bathroom again. Oh my God, I heard my roommate crying in the bathroom. And, at the time, I didn't think anything of it. But now, I wouldn't be able to speak about it. I don't think I could be able to get the words out of my mouth. And I hear some guy say, it's okay. I'm going to help you, because it was in a weird, creepy way. It's okay. I'm going to help you. Like, how creepy was it? I agree that they were all threatened. So now things have been changed to possibly that being Xana. I don't know. I need to sort all that out. Kaylee or Xana? Oh, maybe in interviews, Dylan must have changed her mind and said, now I'm not sure if it's Kaylee or Xana. Well, I think we would go with the first thing you said. Let's go with the first thing you said. How about that? Birdie, I was shouting you out earlier. Awesome interview with Kim. You still think it could have been the female killer crime? Oh, yeah. And the male killer was saying, I agree. Actually, I forgot that it's that to me sounds like, I don't even know if it would be in the bathroom. What if it's in Xana's room? And thank you for that, by the way. Thank you very much. Very, very much. To me, originally, I thought, what if it's not in the bathroom? What if it's in Xana's room and it's one killer telling another killer, I'm going to help you? Right? Especially with the struggle that we see Xana having. Yeah. I was mentioning you earlier, Birdie, because I think it was whenever you had Kim on and you were like, it's so hard to track this case because everything's all over the place. And I'm going through this timeline like chronologically. And I'm like, I'm trying. That's funny. But yeah, good point there. I agree with that. You can agree with that too, Leah. Yeah. Yep. For sure. Let's see. Is it this one? Which one is it? This one. Thank you for that super chat. Let's see. Xana definitely fought someone close to her in stature. Yeah, I do think a female, especially with the hair, right? Like, I love how things that we used to just like speculate about, now we're seeing, some evidence to support, right? If we think there was a female perpetrator, there's some long hair that doesn't seem to be the victims at the crime scene. In a victim's hand, right? In a victim's hand. We got to figure out what to call WSU mom Kim, because I know she said she wants to be Kim. And I'm like, I'm Kim. I said, I'll be typically unique, Kim. I know, Brie, that was like information overload, man. But you asked good questions. She gave some nuggets in there that either hadn't been brought up in a long time, or some new things, especially with when she was talking about that football player. Sidetrack, you guys. We're sidetracking for a minute. Talking about that football player that went to Jack D's house and how there's that unknown male C blood in Jack D's house. And I would assume they tested everybody in that house against it. But if that football player is not a roommate and nobody said he was there, ding, ding, ding. I mean, I would look at that. Right? Is Mike in the house? Hey, Mike. All right, I'm going to get back to this timeline. That was a good sidetrack. So yeah, there's no times given. It's just, here's the narrative, opening the door. The third time. So we're at the third time and she sees someone dressed all in black, masked, hiding an item like a vacuum, or holding an item like a vacuum, at least 3 inches taller than her. Now, I don't know where this came from, because we heard what she said on the body cam outside the house. And she said a little bit taller or a little bit shorter. Those were her words. And I looked at Carlos and was like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Someone can't be taller than you and shorter than you. It can't be both. Pick one. Which one is it? But here, the official timeline on the chart, I believe, let me make sure that that's how they worded it. This is MPD and Idaho State Police giving this information. Yeah. Yep. They were at least 3 inches taller than she is. I mean, I don't know if that's why we're gonna tear into her interview tomorrow. I don't think those words ever came out of her mouth, but that's what we got here. This person was 3 feet away from her. Oh my gosh. I just imagine a ruler, like a foot, 3 feet. What's 3 feet? I mean, how big is a yard? 3 feet away from her, walking out the back sliding door. He looked at her before walking out. I know there's a lot of videos out where people tried to get a visual representation of how this would work. Like, the door opens in, what direction would he be walking from? Which, viewpoint of their how do I want to say it? Their line of sight of each other. What would that look like? I know there's videos out there of that. So that would be something interesting to watch those again. I know somebody did a video of like, can she even see? She can't see the slider from her door. She can see the kitchen window, I believe is the way it went. So I think if she's looking out her door, like even if she has to take a step out, she would see the window and the stove, the counter, and the sliding doors over to the left more. And I don't think she has that view. Now he would be walking that way. I mean, where else would he be going, right? I mean, so she could be assuming, but I think sometimes the police officers take it more literal, like she actually watched him walk out the door. This part right here, he looked at her before walking out. I don't know, that just seemed different to me, like different language added into here. Because she said she saw him. And then I think she says we made eye contact, something like that. So just, I don't know, just the wording's changing. All right, now we are at 424. Dylan receives a text from Bethany. So am I. Okay, this makes no sense. What came before that, right? And I know we've talked about all of this. What came before this? There were Snapchats, there were phone calls, there was something. So am I. Oh, I know. Bethany called Dylan first. So there's phone calls. They don't talk about that on the official timeline. They don't talk about that on the official timeline. So that I would have to add. So I need to add. So I keep saying this is my skeleton timeline. So I'm starting a skeleton timeline for each victim from the book, the chart in the book, and then I'm adding to it with other sources. So that's how we're trying to build this out. Okay. So I need to add the phone calls. And we know Bethany called Dylan first. So there was some back and forth there. So am I. Freaked out, right? So am I. Freaked out. Then she texts. Dylan texts Bethany, my phone is going to die. Fuck. And I know everybody has been all over looking for her charger in her room. Let me know in the chat. Did anybody find that? Yeah. Dylan says, I'm freaked out. Bethany says, so am I. Right? I didn't miss that, did I? No, I don't think so. Dylan receives the text message from Bethany, come to my room. We know all of these. Run down here. Whoops. Get up here so you can see it. Run down here. All right. 424. Dylan. Look at this, you guys. Dylan has a Snapchat phone call to Ethan for 12 seconds. Dylan has a Snapchat phone call to Ethan for 12 seconds at 4:24 a.m. How? Who's got Ethan's phone? I don't think Ethan's incapacitated. Ethan's taken out by then. How does this happen? Have you guys heard this before? I don't know if I've heard that before. Let me see if it's in the book chart. I know, Dago. How was it 12? Who's on the other end of that phone? Who's on the other end of that phone? I got run to, right here. Yeah, it's in the chart. It's in the chart in the book on page 247, 4:24 a.m. Dylan Snapchat call to Ethan, 12 seconds. Everything in this chart either comes from Dylan's interviews or Dylan's phone. Dylan's interview or Dylan's phone. Never 12 seconds with E. It's crazy. And when you look at the crime scene, when you look at Xana's room, the aftermath, and you see where the phones are located in the room, and that Xana's phone is on the bed and Ethan's phone's on the floor with Xana, it clearly looks like someone had those phones and just like at some point tossed them back and tossed them in the wrong place. Do you think they were trying to find the phone? I tell my Alexa to call my phone all the time because I can't remember where I set it down in my house. Do you think they were looking for his phone? You think that too, Dago? Yeah. Why else? I don't know. Let me know in the chat. What other reasons do you think that Dylan would Snapchat? Did the investigate? Oh, you guys, when we listen to this interview tomorrow, oh my gosh. Do they even ask her about this? Do they ask her about this? Oh my. I don't even think they ask about it. I don't even think, but I was dumbfounded when I saw this. All right. 4:24. So same time. So immediately, you guys look at, remember how I talked about, Bethany? Let me focus this a little bit. Bethany and, not Bethany, Maddie and Kaylee rapid firing Jack D. They're rapid fire, call. And then boom, it just ends. And then there's nothing more from them. And then Ethan, or who else does that? There was another example of that. Oh, it was that Cooper kid calling Ethan, call. And then nothing more from Ethan. Here we have Dylan. 4:24, 4:24, 4:24, 4:24, 4:20. How many things can you do in 1 minute? Oh my God. She gets a text. She sends a text. She gets a text. She makes a call and she sends a text. In 1 minute? In 1 minute. That is rapid fire. The last thing in that 1 minute, is this why she's screwed? Because then she says, I'm screwed though. Why? Because you just called his phone. I don't know, you guys. I'm thinking out loud. I'm screwed though. And this is not scared. It's EW. And it's EW. It's screwed. Then okay, now we're finally out of that rapid fire minute. At 4:25, Bethany to Dylan. Yeah, I know, but it's better than being alone. So got to get Bethany to get Dylan in her room. 2 minutes goes by. Dylan opens her door for the 4th time. And before going down to Bethany's room, I wrote this exactly the way it's in the chart. Okay, so in the book, and someone asked me about my opinions about the book earlier in this live. There are errors with punctuation and spelling in this book. Like some sentences don't make complete sense. It's rare, but there's a few of them in this book. So like whoever was the final editor, it should have went through another editing process looking for that stuff, is my opinion. So I wrote this exactly the way it's in the chart. It says opens door 4th time and before going down to Bethany's room, period. That sentence doesn't make sense. It's probably just supposed to say opened her door a 4th time before going down to Bethany's room. That's probably what it says. It's supposed to mean. Dylan sees Xana on the floor in her underwear in her room, but doesn't go in. And I said, okay, yeah, right. That's my reaction. Okay, yeah, right. At 4:27, Dylan calls Kaylee. Oh, I was wondering if this is supposed to be the end of this sentence. She opens the door for a 4th time, and before going down to Bethany's room, does she call Kaylee? Like, when is she making that call? Because that call is at 4:27. So it could possibly be before she heads down. I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense of this timeline. Then at 4:28, Dylan sees a dark colored truck drive by when she gets to Bethany's room. Now, I don't think I've done anything with the vehicles in this case. I don't know if I shy away from it because I don't know about cars. I've watched them, like I've watched the videos. And this would be interesting. I want to find the videos that people have made. I know people have probably identified this truck on the 1112 camera. I know they've probably speculated where it went. I think people say it never left. Is this the one that they think never left the neighborhood? I'm not sure about that, but I want to do more digging about that truck. I think Dago's got some lives talking about that one. Is that the one, Dago, that truck? Didn't you talk about that? All right, we're almost done with Xana's long, busy day and night here. After she gets to... I gotta learn how to focus this better. After she gets down to Bethany's room, she calls Xana. Then at 4:32, she's texting Kaylee, please answer. Okay. I thought this was big. This is going to be big when you're talking about the timeline and what is going on here. So at 4:45 a.m. Okay. Is this extra information? Yeah. No, this is still on the chart. This is on the chart. 4:45 a.m. There's a neighbor and his name is Braden Paulo. And guess where he lives, you guys? Do you guys know who Braden Paulo is? I know I wrote it down. I think it's on Maddie's. My papers are all messed up now. Hold on. I know I have it. I wrote down all the names of all the guys who live at Jack D's house. I believe he's one of the Bradens that lives at Jack D's house. Why is that the one paper I can't find right now? Oh, it's probably still in my book. I didn't tear it out. It's probably still in my book. Let me see. I bet it is. Yep. Still in my book right here. Okay. Jack D's roommates. Oh, it's spelled differently. I have Braden Paula, Paula, written on here, wherever I got this from, probably from the book. And in the chart, they have Pollow. I'm not going to spend time on it now, but it's got to be the same person. Anyways, Braden Paulo. Yeah, it is the same person because he's a neighbor at 1127. He's a neighbor, you guys. He's not Jack D's roommate. He's a neighbor at 1127 King Road, number 3. So he's in bedroom number 3. I wonder if that's the one that faces the 1122 house. Because one of those bedrooms inside 1127 looks straight at the 1122 house. He hears a dog stop barking at 4:45. And he says it sounds like someone let him in. Sounds like someone let him in. That's in Snyder's report. And on the chart, they don't give you the number for Snyder's report, but I found it and it is it's MPD number 4. So it's number 4. MPD report number 4 is Snyder. And I have it pulled up. And it says, oh, this might be, oh, wait a minute. I got to share this with you guys. Oh, maybe not. It's someone talking about a camera. I'm trying to see if it's, no, it's the 1112 camera. I was like, is that the other camera you guys were talking about today? So let's see how they spell Braden Paulow's name. This is supplemental report number 4. And I just have a couple extra pieces of information after this. So he says here, wait, where's the part? Came out, identified himself. So first it starts with Jack D. Here it is. Okay. BP. I'm going to start with the beginning of this paragraph right here. I spoke with subjects at the King Road at 1127 King Road. The majority of them stated they were out drinking at the corner club and got a ride back to their place at about 1:30 a.m. And they went to sleep about 2. They did not hear anything out of the ordinary. 1127 King Road resident Braden Paulo stated at about 4 a.m, he heard a dog bark coming. Oh, wait a minute. Listen to this. He heard a barking dog coming from the east of his residence. He believed it was the dog at 1122 King Road, as he thought that was the only dog in the area. Well, there are other dogs. He stated the dog sounded like it was outside and was barking for about 45 minutes until he believed someone must have let it inside at 4:45 when it stopped. Braden stated he had a female with him in bed, and go Braden, at the time, who also heard the dog barking at this time. Okay, so I wonder who that was with him. That's very detailed. Like the dog barking must have stopped so suddenly. He's able to say that it got let inside. That's another part of the video footage that I'm sure people have listened to. Would be interesting to go back and compare that, fill in all this, just put everything like in order. Oh, I want to share my window. All right. Wrapping this up. Okay, so that's Braden Paulo. And then at 5 a.m., we know that there is activity sensor data reports. That Dylan traveled, right? She took steps. On the chart, it only says 30.77. I would have to look at other information and to get more into this, but we know Dylan took steps between 5 and 11. And I think there was a couple times, I'm not sure, because we know there's not only walking steps, but stair steps, right? All right. So tomorrow, I'm going to come back with some extra information that I find about Dylan to fill in this skeleton timeline that we have started. One of them is going to be about, her possibly seeing Xana, going upstairs with Hunter. Another one is about that Alexa. There was an Alexa in her room. There's some other nuggets out there about Dylan. And we are going to listen to her interview and take all of our information that has been documented and filled in, thankfully, to some more released information in Whitcomb's book, and start analyzing what she said and maybe where things, go wrong, and if we can identify those gaps, maybe then we can say, okay, we need to look closer at like what she's saying about this, things like that. That's my mindset. That's where I'm going with this. So let's see. Kim dropping the sheath bombs today. Thanks, Kane. Thanks, Kane. I am getting ready to wrap up over here. I'm looking at your comments. Her diary. Oh my gosh. Lana hasn't shown anything about her diary yet, right? Have we heard anything about that yet? I flipped out when I heard that. Oh my goodness. I mean, wow. What are we looking for, Rosie? Oh, my documents. I haven't done it yet. I will. I said I would screenshot all these papers and add them. I will do that. So you guys have access to them. I will. I'm sorry. I'm a last minute queen, and sometimes I procrastinate, but I usually get it done. I always get it done. I apologize. Yeah, good for Braden, right? Good for Braden. He could tell us some other information, though. I think Braden could. There's Lucy girl. Hey, Lucy. Oh my gosh. All right, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today and going over all this with me. I'm going to come back tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Please join me back for that. Thank you to everyone who gave a super chat, who joined new memberships. Got some more unique peeps in here. I appreciate that. I always go back and watch all your comments. So if I did not like respond to anything you said in chat, I do go back and read them because you guys drop some information in there or you say things and I'm like, I screenshot them and then I have this little sticker machine and I print them out and it like helps me remember like things that I want to, you know, they're either good things to talk about with this case or information to dive into. So we all have to do this together. All right. You guys are the best. Enjoy the rest of your day. I know Dago's going to be going live soon. I'll see you over there and see you guys back here tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Subscribe, it's free and keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew now, right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. Practically unique, yeah, that's you and me. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. It's free, it keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew now, right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. Yeah, that's you and me. That's you and me. Don't forget to like, hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear.